interest in item 22, which is the recommendation from the Hagley Ferrymead Community Board in relation to the Ferry Road Master Plan. Council has obviously received the report first thing this morning to consider that report, and therefore that item 22, Ferry Road Master Plan, will be on the agenda for next week's meeting. So thank you very much, and we return now to deputations, and the next deputations in relation to the Litchfield Street and Crossing car parks, and I think Tim Howe from the Ocean Partners is here to speak to that. Thank you.
The area that's to be developed around the Bridge of Remembrance on the south side of where the terraces are. We are adjacent to the west side of the Litchfield Street car park. We're the owner of the ODP, which is the only live one sitting on the block at the present time, and we are confident that following the work that we're doing with Sarah at the present time, we will be in a position to deliver a world-class and outstanding development which will be on the banks of the River Park and between the Justice Precinct and the Entertainment Precinct. There is one key issue that the success of this development will fall on or be successful on, and that is the access to modern, efficient, revitalised and permanent car parking solutions. At the present time, the asset being the Litchfield Street car park has sat for a long period of time, and the feedback we're receiving is that even if it is to be repaired, there will be some concerns at the initial outset about going back into that building, given the length of time it's sat there and the nature and the way that it's been portrayed as being a damaged asset. We have been with dialogue with the Christchurch City Council over an extended period about entering into a joint venture with neighbouring landowners to redevelop the car park on Litchfield Street and enable a solution where it can be funded by private sector, owned by a combination of City Council and private sector, managed by either the Council or private sector in consultation with Council, and with the ability of Council to take ownership of this asset back in a 25 to 30 year period. So effectively we get the immediate benefits of a redevelopment using private funding with Council retaining long-term control of the asset. Christchurch has a very good history of asset ownership, and the Council should be very proud of that. I think I'm not, and it's surprising as an investment banker to say, not supportive of selling every asset that is owned. However, I would say that there is a need at some point in time to consider partnerships as long as the long-term future of these strategic assets within the Council framework are kept within their control. There is a lot of capital required for the rebuild of the necessary parking assets, and knowing the cost of the redevelopment of Litchfield alone, as we are well advanced in the pricing of that, we are aware, mindfully, that there is insufficient capital in the budget which the Council has available to repair all of the assets that they need to. So I think an offer or a solution to work with private sector is at this point in time one that should be given a significant amount of consideration. We are proposing to one of two options, and one of them is obviously a negotiation with Council. However, we recognise that the process that would need to be gone through for this to be achieved. Alternatively, and this is the likely path that we are proposing, would be an uninvited bid under the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Economic rules to submit an uninvited bid to redevelop in partnership with Council in delivering the outcomes that I've referred to. We would like to also work with Council, if it was deemed appropriate, in the event that we were successful in our bid, to consider the insurance position on the asset as other work that we are doing in our advisory capacity of our business is seeing that there may be more assurance available in the event that there would deem to be multiple claims that affected the Litchfield Street asset. We have that under control and would obviously not be part of our development, but we would be offering that part as well. I have put in front two pieces of paper, which I hope you have. Schematically, we have prepared what the redeveloped car park may look like, and we are advanced in pricing this. Structural steel has been prepared. The diagrams have been, the working drawings have been prepared enough to be able to price them, and we anticipate that we will be able to have a bid on the table by December, end of December, so in a couple of weeks, next week. Currently, there were 920 car parks before the earthquake. We understand that 300 of these in the council car park have now disappeared with the removal of the crossing and the Ballantynes car parks. So a restoration of the existing asset is around 600 car parks being returned. We are proposing an asset which will deliver about 750 car parks and the advantage of 28 residential apartments on the north side that will deliver an immediate number of people into the central city as residents. That does two things. One, it starts the flow of people back into the city, and two, it will help with our crime prevention through environmental design for the rest of the issues around the crime by having people in the precinct 24 hours a day. I think the basis of our and the urgency for our approach has been that we are in discussions with the Bank of New Zealand to find them a solution for their office and retail accommodation in the city. There is an email that has been circulated to you as councillors that I have sent a copy that expresses the urgency of being able to determine the car parking solution, and that will become a critical factor of their decision to and their timing to re-enter the city. So it's not just developers saying we want the car park solution to be accelerated, we actually need it because we are in very time-critical discussions with major tenants who will bring the fabric of the commercial sector back to the city. Do I have any questions?
Has anyone got any questions? Yanni Johansson. Phil Clearwater.
Thank you. Just in regards to, you've talked about the asset belonging to council or doing a joint venture, but, I know other cities around New Zealand have sold off their car parking building, and that's had an impact on the prices that people are charged. In terms of the view whether council should just do it ourselves, if we had the money, would this be a good investment in terms of the demand for car parking in the central city?
The question is, I can't comment on whether you should be managing or outsourcing, because there may be an answer for you to own it, to control the pricing, and yet outsource management alone anyway. So would it be a good investment? It would be an investment if one had capital. The question and the reason that we're bringing this to you is we are asking probably whether the capital is available for the redevelopment of all the assets that are needed in the city. Right. So yes, it's a good investment if the capital's there, but we're suggesting that the capital may be short.
But it would seem to me that investing capital into a car park building which provides a return is probably a more sensible use of capital if you've got a shortage.
If you have enough to provide all the other car parks, yes, it would be.
Right. Okay.
Phil Clearwater.
Thank you. Could you outline where the entrances and exit for the proposed car parking part will be?
The entrance and the exit is on the right-hand side of the green wall, so it's to the eastern side of the existing council car park.
And are you aware that council staff have advised us that in terms of the proposed scale of vehicle movements, in fact, because of potential conflict with pedestrians and so to say, that this needs further investigation?
I appreciate it may need further investigation. What I'd like to stress is the urgency that we are looking at bringing tenants back into the city who need an outcome, and they need an outcome in the near term. There is no point in having assets available with no tenants to use them. So it's balancing the need for investigation versus the need for a decision to get tenants needs to be very carefully considered from a council perspective.
Thank you.
A question following on from that. So with Litchfield Street no longer being one way, does that make a difference in terms of traffic flows?
It is something that needs to be worked through. We're obviously looking at that. It probably is an advantage in some way of getting access into the car park, and it's one where we need to look at where the entrance and the exit lanes go and at what point they start to queue. At this point, we are working on what we can and what we know, but obviously if we were successful in the bid, we'd be able to have those negotiations with council.
Thank you. Is there any other quick question, Vicky Buck?
Very quickly, is this the only thing that's stopping you from developing this?
It is one of the things we need to be clear about to enable us to get tenants, one of the things.
That's lovely. Thank you very much, much appreciated. Now we move on to the Port Hills Slope Stability Information Paper.